I'm just
Okay.
typing what they're asking me to do. Real estate versus Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then join me now. Okay.
Perfect. It is connected. Great. Okay. So let's get this started. Well, everyone out there, a warm welcome once again to another live stream of Aura 8 by Cryptonite UAE. This one is really special, and I'll tell you why. It's because we aren't going to be talking about agentic AI. We are not going to be talking about AI. We're not going to be talking about RWA. We aren't talking about anything that we've ever spoken. But today we'll be talking about real estate versus Bitcoin. And with me, I have the very famous, the very cool, the super cop who turns into a millionaire only by real estate. Sunil, welcome to Aura 8. How was the weekend? Tell me that first.
Valley, thank you for having me. My weekend was awesome. I am in the Toronto, Canada area right now. That's where I live. And the weather has been just incredible. I mean, to me, these are the days to be in Toronto. So, yeah, it's awesome.
And I envy you because in the UAE right now, I only understand the imperial system, but it's about 45 odd degrees. I think last I checked, it was like 111, 112 Fahrenheit, or perhaps even more. So you know the the beauty of Sunil is that he's spoken in big stages like Tony Robbins, right? Someone who I'm a big fan of. Robert T. Kiyosaki, the guy who actually taught us what does money really mean, and Grant Cardone, the very famous 10x guy. For everyone out there, please go ahead and comment. For the guys on watching us on Binance Live, hello sir, how are you? I'm good sir, thank you. So for everyone out there, please go ahead and put on your comments. This would make it even more interactive. But let's
And they can even
actually,
ask a question. Maybe I don't
yes.
know if there's a way to monitor it, but if it's an opportunity for them to ask a question as well.
And all of this, you could do it for at no cost. We only need your attention, right? Thank you, Sunil, for
You're welcome.
accepting to be part of this. The first thing I want to know, how you are living every average Indian's dream, right? I had another friend of mine. I called him every Indian parent's wet dream, because he has got like passport of four countries and he's a millionaire and stuff. But then every Indian wants to be in Canada. Every Indian wants to be a millionaire. Every Indian wants to own multiple houses and stuff, right? Now you have actually made it possible. But first, let's quickly understand your journey. How did you reach Canada? How did you become a cop? Uh, Give us a bit of breakdown on that.
Well, just to briefly, I used to live in the slums of New Delhi, India, when I was young, when I was a young kid, and I was not a good student whatsoever at all. I didn't like school. I didn't like what they were teaching me at that time, majority of the things. And then we moved in 1981. So I was like 13 years old in 1981. We moved to Toronto, and I still didn't like school, but somehow a vision came that I should become a police officer, and I did become a police officer in 1990. And I went from being a uniform officer to becoming a police detective to becoming a police negotiator, and finally the platoon commander. And I was enjoying myself. I was growing and doing really well in the police force. And then one day, my then wife said to me that we need to either quit your job or we're going to have a divorce. And that was because I was working nights, I was working days, I was working long hours. We had two kids. We still have two kids, obviously. So I decided at that time, but in 2005, 15 years of policing, that I enjoyed what I did, but now I have to move on. And then from there, I went and became who I became. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do. The biggest scary point, actually, for perhaps for any man, maybe even women as well, but a lot of men who are the breadwinners, the scariest thing is to give up a secure job that your paycheck stops, and especially in my case, it was probably it's a government job, it's secured, and I can just retire till the end. And I was making decent amount of money at that point, and I didn't know what I was going to do. The only thing I knew is I was going to go into business, and I had no idea what it meant to go into business. So I went to all the business shows, entrepreneur shows, the expos and real estate expos, and this anything that had to do with money, vending expos, anything that talked about making money. I basically went to that, and my story since then has been heard and been on major news, whether it's Forbes, CNBC, and some of the TV and magazines and all that. Is that the first year I ended up buying and selling 77 properties and making approximately $980,000 in 12 months. So what happened is that got the attention of a lot of media and everything like that. And I it got my attention, that's for sure. Because in my life, I thought that if I work all my entire life, and when I retire when I'm in my 60s or whatever, if I get $1 million in my account, then I'm done. That was it, right? And so I was very blessed. I am an introvert. In millions of years, if you had told me in the past that I'll become this international public speaker, I couldn't even stand in front of 10 people for like 2 minutes to speak, for example. My teacher told me your spelling stinks, your English is bad, you'll never amount to anything, yet I am 7 times best-selling author now. And I've inspired millions of people all over the world and generated millions of dollars for some of my clients who have become millionaires and multimillionaires. And I tell this story because a lot of people tell me that you don't understand me. You don't understand my circumstances. And so I have no special, power. I came from a poverty, for most people below poverty. And I've become this person that people now look up to and inspire to be on stages of 5,000, 10,000 people, and become friends with Robert Kiyosaki's of the world and Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, meeting the people that I always want to work with, Shark Tank people, Oprah I met, and like all these things, only it's like a dream. And what I found was that when I tell this story, people, when they're sitting in their, in their country, in their room or whatever it is, and they have stories like, oh, I don't have the degree, or I'm introvert, or I can't do this. It inspires them to say, I can do it as well.
Did Oprah mistake you for Deepak Chopra's brother?
Well, I hope so. But Deepak is a good friend of mine. Deepak Chopra is a good friend of mine, and the point here for me is to, I was introvert to the point where when I was growing up and all that, I had lack of self-esteem. I didn't think I could be. I just didn't know. All I wanted to do was go to work, get a paycheck, come home, take care of my family, and repeat till I'm 65, and that's it. And so during that time when I was having problems, marriage problems, I thought that was the worst thing that could happen to me because, but it turned out to be a really good thing because there were skills that were dormant inside of me, right? And now I have impacted. Let me just imagine. I go to movie theaters or airports, and people run up to me and say, "You changed my life," right? This is like, I used to think that I used to do that to other people. You see what I mean? But and then it's incredible that something that I was very afraid of, which was public speaking, has become my passion. As you know me with all over the world, that whether it's Japan, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Dubai, whether it's Malaysia, whether it's India, whether it's US, Canada, I've spoken on big and small stages all over the world, and it has become my passion because I see the impact on regular people who would never dream of becoming millionaires or multimillionaires, not only through real estate, because when I say real estate, most of my millionaires and multimillionaires are actually part-time real estate investors, meaning they have their job, they do something, they have a business, but they became wealthy through real estate by learning strategies and where to go from there.
I love stories like these, and I'm a sucker for underdog stories, right? Because somewhere I can connect with them. I still stammer in my personal life, and I've been on some amazing stages in similar countries that you mentioned, so I can totally connect with you on that. But what I really want to know is that when people say that I come from the slums, right? Yeah, most of the times it's a part of a storytelling, but I really want to dig deep in, and I want to find out that, like, when you say you come from the slums, like, how bad was it? Like, and the reason why I'm asking you this question is because it doesn't matter if we are in Web3, if we are in crypto, if we are in real estate. As you very rightly pointed out, most of them say that, hey, Sunil, you don't know where I'm coming from, or you don't know what my circumstances are. And I personally feel that is, when somebody says that statement, they are just trying to find an easy way out. Because in life, there is no easy way out. You, like, if you're going through hell, you keep going through it, and then you would come out. But then I would just like to dig deep in, and so that everybody out there, and and I'll tell you why I'm asking you this question, because I think in 2017, or no, 2016, when I first came to Dubai as a tourist, uh, had no idea what to do, but I had a small gig lined up as an MC. Uh, my son had passed away that year, and I stopped working. I was absolutely broke. Any opportunity I couldn't take up, because my job requires me to have the energy to talk to people, to make them laugh and to make them smile, and I had nothing of that sort in me. So when I came in here, I literally came in here. Okay, this is the first time that I'm telling this live. I literally came in here with 70 Indian rupees, because that's all I had, which is equivalent to about 2.5 dirhams. And
Yes.
when I actually went to the airport and I said, can I get like something out of it just in case? Like, I thought if I can exchange 70 rupees there. So the guy asked me how much I have, and then gave me a piece of paper to write it down. So I wrote 70, and then he wrote, I think, 3,500. And I'm like, this fellow is thinking I have 70,000 rupees, and I just walked out, right? Not because of of attitude. It's just that I didn't know what to tell him, so I just walked out.
Sure.
And sir, please come. I will give you a better deal. So there was no better deal. I just walked out. He must be thinking that, shit, I gave this guy a bad deal. But then when I shared that story with a friend of mine a few days ago, he said, bro, you're bullshitting. And I'm like, no, there are a lot of people who actually come from nowhere and they still are able to make it. Uh, that is why I'm just pushing you on that. Like, tell me how it was while growing up, and then, mashallah, to where you are right now. But we'll do it very
Yeah.
quickly, because too many questions for you
Yeah.
here.
Well, listen. When we used to live in India, we were like paying guests into other people's homes or condos or buildings or apartments. So let's assume you have a two-bedroom apartment, and there's one washroom, the living room, and two rooms. And we would rent a room within that two-bedroom, and we will be five people, and we would cook in that room. We would sleep in that room, and that room was, we were not allowed to come out in the living room or anywhere else. That was our place to be. And then we would share the washroom, one washroom, with the landlord and his entire family, with five of us. And we had a timetable. I remember we used to fight a lot, because now they had the first right of refusal to the bathroom. It was incredible. So I remember moving from one place to another often, because eventually there was always a fight, there was always a struggle, where it just didn't work out, but it was cheap. That's what it was. And then I remember father bringing, used to work in a factory, and he brought an apple, and he would cut five pieces, and we would fight for the bigger piece of that apple, because apple to us meant luxury. It meant like, wow, impact. Okay. And anything we did was basically, we were just basically told that, on one hand, money's bad, on the other hand, they said we can't do it because we don't have the money. So it was very confusing for me. And then on one hand, they said, rich people are bad. On the other hand, they said, go to school, get good grade, get a good job, so then you can make money. Okay? And so I was very confused. So growing into that environment, I was anxious. I used to fight a lot. We were like, there was gangs, and there was, when I say gangs, I'm talking about kids gang. I'm talking about, and also the real gangs were there too. We talking about drugs, we talking about fights and all that. So we grew up in those environment, knowing and thinking that's normal. It's not abnormal. It's just like normal. And having anything other than needed. So, Maslow theory, we just basically were surviving, barely surviving. And I remember anything that we wanted to have was always, the answer was no. Basically, my parents no. And we were even brainwired and brainwashed to say that rich people are bad, and therefore you can't be rich people because you don't want to be bad. So you be poor and stay poor, so because you can be a good person. So that's what it is. Even when we came to Toronto, I mean, there was an area in Toronto we lived in the first 8 or 9 years of my high school and everything like that, which were basically, not so good areas. Why? Because we went to an area where a lot of immigrants were living, and the rents were cheaper. And so, interesting part is that we have the money now, but we were living like we didn't have the money. So yeah, it's look, we have over 8 billion people, depending on who you believe, more than 8 billion people on the planet, and majority of them are living at the lower end of Maslow theory, which is food, shelter, clothing. If you can just get by that, that's good enough. My parents bought me clothing, but that were 2 sizes up. And then when I was done, I gotta give it to my sister, Mina, and then my sister would give it to my brother, and then that was a cycle.
I think it is every Asian family's story, right? This happens in every Asian family. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have normalized it because I think we think that's the way to be it in terms of the hand me down. But I'm very curious to know that when did you actually break your shackles? Because I come exactly from the similar situations. I understand, uh, that like people say money is bad, money is the root of all evil, but then you see that the way out for you of wherever you are currently is money. So you're saying that biryani is bad, okay, but when I eat biryani I feel good and everybody else feels good, then why is biryani bad? Because majority of us, right, guys, whosoever is listening to this, majority of you know what, let me tell you this, that this conversation will do you a lot more good than any trading video that I put out, any agentic AI breaking technology, or anything that I do out, because see, that is a skill. Here is a mindset, because at the end of the day, you can have whatever skill, but if you don't have the mindset, I really want to say something in Hindi, but I'm just going to refrain myself and say that what the hell are you going to do with the skill if your mindset is not right? Because see, talent and skill, I believe, is as cheap as table salt. We all are talented, we all have some skill or the other, but with the right mindset is where we can use it and make a lot more
Yes,
than a plate of biryani. So let me ask you this, right? When did you break your shackles, and how was that process? Because um, when I'll tell you. So I think you said it so beautifully that your parents had the money, but they were choosing not to move out because what if the money gets over? What if we try to do extra stuff that perhaps we are not required to do? And also with with immigrants, the mindset is you have to always be careful, right? You have to always be careful. You do not know what can happen to you, kind of a thing. But then, see, your parents have the ownership, right? But then as kids, you're like, I don't care, right? I need a good pair of jerseys. I need Jordan shoes. I just want to like live like the people who are living around me versus what your parents were doing. So please tell us, how did you break your mental shackles?
that's good. That's very good. I would say that building a success mindset or a millionaire mindset has to be the first thing you have to do, and because otherwise somebody can give you $1 million and then a few years later you would lose it. I mean, we heard these stories about lottery people, right? So so building a mindset is really, really important. Now, in my case, I always knew that I was a little different. I don't know what. I just knew that I'm not, I knew something was different. And then when I fell into this idea of entrepreneurship, which is real estate is basically is a product of an entrepreneurship. So basically the idea for me was I fell into it. I have no choice. My back is against the wall. I need to take care of my family, my kids, and everything like that. And in my case, I had do or die type of sink or swim type of attitude at the time when I left the police force. Because before that, my mindset was completely different. And but then
How
I
old were
made
you? How old were you? Sorry to cut you here, but how old were you? Because a lot of people think that after a certain age you can't change, but
yeah.
you are clearly proving everybody wrong.
So I was in my sort of mid or late 30s at that point, and I'm turning 58 this year, and so yeah, I would say 36 or something. I was there. I was about 36 or so, 35, 36. So, but what I want to share with you is that the cool story is and was that I made 980,000, and then I continued to make money. And then when 2008 came, when the biggest meltdown that happened, I lost it all, and I went into deep debt in addition to that. See how the thing is, at that point I felt so stupid. Why? Because not only did I make lots of money, like if you make no money and bad
It's
thing
okay.
happen, nothing happens, right? But now you made the money, everybody's looking at you, and you lose it, it's even worse. Okay. So then is what I realized was that my mindset hadn't caught up to the actual financials that I had. So, in order for me to become wealthy and for you and everyone to become wealthy, money always follows the mindset. If the mindset goes up and down, that's where the money goes and stays. Okay. So what I ended up doing was I started reading all the books, Think and Grow Rich, Science of Getting Rich, Tony Robbins, all these people that I started studying, like Deepak Chopra and Jack Canfield, and some of these people that talked about mindset. And before I thought that was crazy. Even Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is, it's like a more of a mindset, switch. So I started to say to myself, let's build my millionaire mindset back. And then most of people know my story is that after that I generated even more money than before because of the mindset that was built. And so how did I do it? I basically learned to get up early. I got up and wrote the things that I was grateful for. And then I wrote down the affirmations and I repeated those affirmations every day that aligned with what I want. And then I aligned the affirmations with the goal. So affirmation would be present tense, goal would be future tense with a deadline. So I will make $1 million by December 31st, 2027 is a goal. I have $1 million is an affirmation that aligns with that. Okay. So I basically did things like that. And what I did was I sat down in the morning. It sounds crazy, but I would have never believed it when I was a police officer.
Hey,
But
Sunil,
basically, I closed
things
my
we
eyes
do
and this
here,
vision.
it's always crazy.
Huh?
I said things we do here and in our
Yeah.
lives, right? It's always crazy because if it wasn't crazy, then I don't think we would be ever having a conversation. I
Correct.
would have been happy, being in Bangalore and being this
Yes.
cool dude in that small little area of mine, and then you would have been happy being a cop, a very decorated cop, and then that's it.
And that's the thing I realized is that if I sit down and actually visualize what I want to have it now. So first was, what am I grateful for? I wrote 100 things that I'm grateful for. I do that today, by the way. I do that even today in my notebook every day. Okay. So what am I grateful for? Repeat the affirmation, visualize, and the next thing I do is I say, okay, what am I supposed to be doing today to get to where I want to go. What was I supposed to do today? And make a list of those things that I need to do today. Today was, okay, I'm going to be on an interview with Valley. Okay, this is what I'm going to have to do. And then I have other things that I wrote down. And then basically, if I can do those things today, then I'm successful. And if I don't do them today, then I'm kind of not successful. And then I look at, if I wrote 6 things I need to do today, must do today, and I look at which ones are more important or timely, then I do those. And that's basically it. And then if I miss something that is not that valuable, then still I'm successful. And if you do this every day, then what happens is you build your mindset, plus you have the right thoughts, plus the right actions equals the success.
So let's build on that a little more, right? Guys, just in case if you're wondering where you should invest your money, Bitcoin or real estate, I think you need to invest money into your mindset first, right?
Yes. Yes.
Before you get down to Bitcoin or to real estate. Let's talk about this, right? So you are saying that what uh, I think everybody has mentioned, that affirmation, the words that you tell to yourself is the most important. Gratitude, because you are either in gratitude or you're either scared, and scared being the lower vibration. So you're saying gratitude, and then you just kept writing it and went out, and things kept, and the doors kept opening. Am I simplifying it? Apologies if I am, but I would like to break down that pattern that actually changed your mind, because if it changed yours, it will change everybody else who's listening to this now, later, ever.
Yeah, I mean the idea is that when you have a suggestion, affirmations are suggestions that you're making to yourself, and what happens is those suggestions go into your subconscious mind, and then the subconscious mind with those suggestions connect with the universe, and because universe has all the answers, the creativity, the growth, and the money, whatever you want to say, that is how you bring it. So you attract the right opportunity, the right people, the right connections, the right mentors, the right clients, and the right partnerships. They start coming your way because you're attracting them, because you're sending out that signal to the right people. These people were there before. It's just that you were not sending out that energy to them, so they would not come to you. That's number one. Number two is that when they come to you, then you also have to be ready to receive, ready to take action. So people tell me, I want to be a millionaire. I'm ready. I'm ready. And I say, okay, let's start. And they go, oh, but not today. So that means they're not ready. My friend Brian Tracy says people go to someday island. What was that? I'll do it someday. So they go to a someday island, and then they meet other someday islanders, and they all sit together and say, someday we will do it. And that someday is a deathbed, basically.
So everybody listening to this, remember, Delulu is not the Sululu. So being delusion is not the solution.
That's right.
You know, uh, I think the word delusion, right? I think it's a very powerful word. And, I think if we use it correctly, right? They say Delulu is the Sululu. Uh, what do you have to say to the Gen Zs out there who have been misusing this sentence left, right, and center? Because I'll tell you my take. Because I personally feel Delulu can be the Sululu only if you know that it is going to benefit you. Like, for example, right, you put down 100 people. Like for me, right, I put down 100 people on my list, and I say no matter what, I will get them on my live stream. I will I will visualize speaking with them. I will visualize cracking jokes with them. I will visualize they're responding to me. I will visualize every single detail, right? Is that delusion, or am I wrong, or is Delulu the Silulu? Multiple questions going on. You are on that
Well,
frame.
the way I look at it is actually that look for a big goal, bigger goals than yourself. Meaning, how do I serve and change people's lives? And if I can change one person's life, versus 100 people versus 1,000 versus 10,000 versus 100,000? Why does a doctor who sees, let's say, a best doctor, let's say they see like 200 people a day, maybe 300, I don't know. Then you have an actor, movie star. Doctor contributes to 300 people a day, actor millions. That's why they make more money. That's why they have impact through the entertainment, right? Now, can a doctor make more than actor? Yes, if he sets up a system with other doctors and other, maybe he can do that. But generally speaking, the idea has to be so big that scares you, number one. Number two, it should be where other people tell you that you're crazy. It cannot be done, okay? And especially your parents, especially your relatives, especially your friends, majority of them, if they are not so successful, they're not gonna be supportive. I'll give you an example. When I was a police officer and when I left the police force, my friends, my parents, my uncles, my relatives and cousins, they said, you're so smart, you're so amazing. We know you can do it. You're awesome, and we are supporting you. None of that happened. None of that
okay.
happened. Okay, none of that happened. They said you're crazy, you're stupid, you're leaving a secure job. Do you know how long it took you for it to This is secure, this is not. Everyone was 99% of people were against me. So the lesson there that I got was that if majority of the people who are regular people who are telling you that you're crazy or stupid and all, that means you're going the right way to success. If majority of your friends are saying you're awesome, you're amazing, you're just gonna get what they have, which is basically nothing, very little. Okay, so that's the second thing. People are gonna, big goal. Secondly, most people will not support you. Who's gonna support you? And maybe your mentors. If you hired a mentor or you were with somebody, or somebody very like less than 0.001% of the people. So you look for the people who are already successful and say, what are they saying? Can I do it or not? But whereas most of the people, if you go to them and say, I'd like to make $1 million, and they'll be like, the guy's making $50,000. You're going to take an advice from a guy. So if the guy's making $50,000 and they go and get a question like, can I make $1 million? You should just ask him, can I make $50,000? Because that's the level that he's made to. Maybe 60,000. Can I make 60? You made 50. But if you tell somebody who's making $100 million, can I make $1 million? They're going to say, of course you can. Of course you can. Number three is the repetition. You got to repeat what the successful people are doing. You got to repeat some of the things that people say we want. And then very next thing is, like I said, go to someday Lila. I'll do it someday. Or they say, you know what? I can't afford it. That's another thing that I get a lot of time. I said, you know what? If somebody kidnapped with somebody you love and said, you need to give me $10,000, $20,000 in the next 90 days, you're going to do whatever it takes because you're passionate, you love it, you want to do it. But you're not passionate about your goal when you say the very next thing, oh, can I just get it for free? Or can I get it cheaper? Can I just, or I'll do it some other day, and some other day never comes. And the fourth thing is, absolutely, you need skills. You got to go get the skills. So let's say you want to become a salesperson. You want to be a real estate investor. You want to be in crypto. You want to be whatever. Go get the education. I mean, it's so simple. You want to be a doctor? Get an education. You want to be an engineer? But people somehow they say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't need an education. So getting it, but getting the education from people who are successful, who know what they're saying, and they can teach you. Not somebody that just basically, read a book maybe, and then you ask them. But although that's okay, better than nothing, but get somebody who has actually done it and get them to teach you. In school, when I was so bad in New Delhi, I used to write on my arms, some of the formulas that I couldn't remember, science formula, the mathematical formulas, the complicated ones. And during the exams, when the teacher's not watching, I'm like, kind of, or there's a person who's my friend. I know that guy gets 95% in science and I get like 40 or 50. I want to sit with him and I copy him, and sometimes they will cooperate and they'll tell me, and then I copy it. In the world of school, that would be bad thing. In the
But
business
that's
world, in entrepreneurship world, in real estate world, that's the best way, is to find somebody and copy them. It's called mentoring.
absolutely. Sunil, majority of us, okay, uh, I'm sorry, guys, I am exposing us to perhaps an outsider. Sunil, a lot of us have made millions of dollars and lost it all,
Yes,
right? Uh,
I have.
and specifically in crypto, right? Or, for the other people, like, so what could be $1 million for me? For somebody, that could be $1,000, right? There are times that I think I've realized that, something in your body says, what, you don't deserve this. Are you serious? You can handle so much of money, so on and so forth, right? Multiple conversations happen, and what I've understood is that your nervous system is not ready to handle that pressure or that money or that abundance. I want to know from you that you made a close to $900,000 the first year when you started. Great, you used all your negotiation skills, all your probing skills from the police department, and then that actually is a great skill to have, right? Specifically in sales, to understand if the person is interested or not. uh, and after that, right, when you lose everything, how did you build it bit by bit? Because the first thing that takes your hit is not really your wallet, but it's your mindset. Because when Terra Luna happened, the crypto guys will know what I'm talking about. When the Terra Luna crash happened, uh, people lost millions of dollars. So I know somebody who said that I lost $2 million, but if I can't make it back again, then I didn't really deserve it, right? So there were a lot of
Sure.
things there. But I want to know from you is that how did you pick up your mindset and walk up? Because
Very good.
I know
Very good question.
for a
Very
fact
good
that
question.
it's a painful walk. It's a painful walk.
Well, it hurts in many different ways, mentally, of course, emotionally, spiritually, even, and of course, financially. But it hurts more because your family members, who said to you, we told you. Remember
I
that?
told you.
That was the big one, because now I didn't want to face them anymore, because they said, look, we told you. So what I did, which I had the very about, I mean, I can't believe I did it. I lost everything. Then I hired a mentor. I just hired a mentor and said, listen, I've lost everything. Maybe you can help me with this kind of. I don't want you to teach me anything else. I just want you to just manage my emotions and manage what I should do next and what I should do. And so for the next 6 months, every 2 weeks, I was on the phone with this mentor for almost an hour. And then he would send me to do things. One of the things that we learned was, for example, he said, don't worry about what people are saying. He said, don't even read the news. Don't, if somebody leaves a negative comment, don't even worry about that. Says, don't even just disregard that. It was very hard, because you're like, what do you mean? What if they're saying something bad? And he said, if you want to be rich, you're gonna have some people who are not gonna like you. He goes, even people who have done really well all over the world, name them legends. They have some bad people. People don't like them. So that was one. Hired a mentor, and then of course my family, immediate family, also said, wait a minute, you just lost money and you lost another money to give to the mentor, because they thought it was a loss of money, right? And we don't know how we're going to pay our next month's bill, and you're doing this. That was number one. Number two, the system, and I have a system right now, a millionaire mind system, that all you do is you fill in the blank for 66 days. Fill in the blank, okay? Which is partially I told you about, which is write your gratitude journal, do your affirmation, do your visualization, and then your to dos today. I mean, this is a system. You fill it out. That's it. So what I did was I basically learned and relearned that there is a lesson. And I said, Where is that lesson right now? Because I don't see it. I see no lessons whatsoever. Okay. But he told me that there is a lesson that you're going to know, and you're going to be grateful for this lesson years down the road. I'm like, okay, I paid you, so I'll believe you, whatever. But basically, what I did with that was I just went by step what he said and rebuilt my mindset first, and then all of a sudden went with the intent of, which is the most important part that I ended up doing. I knew that I knew that I knew, meaning I had the faith that everything will be fine. Like, let's say next month, I'm like, okay, how do I find money to pay my mortgage? It's, you feel stupid in the beginning because you're like, wait a minute, everybody loves you, you got millions of dollars, and now you lost it all, and now you can't even pay your bills. It feels stupid, right? But what ended up happening in my mind was the faith that I had that whatever happens, I'll be fine. That was incredible. Okay. And then what would happen is 2 days before, one day before, somebody would come by and say, can I hire you? Or can I buy this property with you? And I'd be like, sure. And then boom, the money's right there. Okay. It was like magic. It was like magic. And then out of that, I started my multi-million-dollar coaching business, because before that, I was not coaching. Before that, I felt like if there's a coaching, I have to do it for free. Okay, I was doing free coaching because I thought, who would ever pay me? Why would they pay me money? Right? I remember somebody came to me in that time and said, and this again is, I'm attracting these people. There was this Oriental gentleman. He was buying a 24-unit building in Toronto area, and I've never knew who he was, and all of a sudden he comes to me, and he says, should I buy this property? I'm like, so I gave him free advice about, and I showed him the numbers. I said, it kind of makes sense and I like it. And I think you should, get it. I don't hear from him for, I don't know, 2 months or whatever, something like that. And during this bad times, I forgot about him completely. And then one day, phone rings, I pick it up, and I say, yes. And he goes, you remember, I was buying that 24 unit. I said, yeah, I've never even heard from you. What happened? He goes, well, I'm at the lawyer's office and I can't sign. I said, I'm so silly. I'm not getting, I'm like, what do you mean you can't sign? Your pen doesn't work? Or like, why are you calling me? Like, and he goes, no, I'm in front of the lawyers. It's my first 24 unit. Numbers look decent, but I just feel like I'm frozen. I can't sign. Can you come and kind of look at it one more time? And this is now, this is before, when I was giving free advice, I was fine. When I was not fine, when I needed the money, okay, this is what I heard myself say. I said, if I come to you, you're gonna have to pay me for my consulting fee. I mean, I had no,
and you couldn't believe what were you saying, right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. But what came next was even worse, which I couldn't believe. Okay, and I thought the guy's gonna hang up, and here's what he said: how much? And now my heart is like boom, 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 and I heard myself saying $5,000. And as soon as I said $5,000, I said to myself, oh, you're greedy. Why didn't you just say $500? That's too much. Well, he's going to think bad of me. And it felt like it was like a long time, but I don't think it was. Okay. And the guy said, sure. I'm like, what? So I remember hanging up, and that day I should have gotten a speeding ticket, because I sped to the lawyer's office, okay? Because I was in need of money, and he was in need of the service. And I never thought that anybody would pay for that, right? Because when I was being brought up, if you're a counselor, like you studied for 5 years in university, $150 an hour, right? Or you're so-and-so, and you're a specialist, and you're still making like $200 a year or whatever. $5,000? Like it just made no sense to me. But I went there. I walked into the lawyer's office, and the guy says, now I see the lawyers. They're well dressed and everything like that. I'm not as well dressed in those days. I walk in and I'm nervous now. Like I don't know, right? I know what's gonna happen. And the guy says to all his team, lawyers, the agents, and mortgage broker, they're all sitting there wanting to close the deal. He goes, "This is Sunil. He is my mentor."
Whoa.
Now I'm like, yeah, I'm a mentor. Like, move over. I'm just sitting. So I walked up and I sat down. I looked at all his numbers of basically how much he's buying for, what would be his monthly expenses, what would be his monthly revenues. Did he set aside some for, oops cost and this and that? And it made sense to me. And I said, if you don't sign it, I would sign it. This is like, buy it. And he signed that deal and I made $5,000. That's how my coaching, mentoring business started, where I had the guts to go out to say people, I can be your mentor. Okay, because I had done it before. I had done it with so many properties.
But for free. Yeah.
So basically, when the bad thing happened, you say how I came out from us, but I was finding and attracting, more better than finding, attracting the opportunities where the money kind of came at the right time. Okay, and then as I started to make money, then I came back and then I wrote down the lessons from it. And then I taught people what not to do and made money from it.
What I just want some clarification is that from the time you hired a mentor to the first result you got in terms of finance, how long was that? Like a month?
But so when I hired my mentor, I started with guy named Robert Allen, who's become my good friend now. His course really was the one that taught me how to invest in real estate, even if you have little money, no money, a lot of money, doesn't matter, and how to actually make money from it. That was the first year. But some of the mentors were different because some of the mentor, like I said, I was going when I had that time. His goal was not to bring me money right away, but his goal was to manage me, and then eventually bring money. At the end of the day. So I'll give you some ideas. If somebody hires me as a mentor today, for example, it would be like, first I have a questionnaire that they fill out, and then the question fill out and say, what are you right now? I had somebody who is a lawyer. Let's say she's a lawyer, and she's like, I want to grow my business. I'm good at what I do. I love it, but I just, I said, what would be your perfect thing? She said she's in U.S. and she says, if I'm making $180,000 sales, not even profit, sales, $180,000 a year, and I said, what do you want? She goes, $1 million would be great a year. So basically, she hired me for a year. And then it's on my LinkedIn testimonial and everything like that. Within like 8 or 9 months, we installed marketing system, we installed the sales system, and how she should deliver it, how to attract the clients, and how to talk to prospects, talk to our sales team. So then she has sales teams all over the world virtually. So I basically trained them. And what happened with that was, I think she was up to like $1.1 million in 8 months. So what happens is, whenever you have a mentor, you're like, okay, what do I want? How hard am I going to work for it? And what is the deadline? Basically, because not everybody is going to want to work as hard as her when she was already working. And I said, you need to work a little harder. You need to work a little longer. You have to invest a little bit of money in marketing. Are you willing to do that? And some people will say, no, I'm already busy. So if you can teach me how to make an extra $100,000 in the next 6 months, that's good enough. And then some people would be like, Sunil, I want to have an event. I want to produce an event. And the event I want to produce is, can you teach me? Because we have produced events all over the world, and we are really good at monetizing that event at the same time making money for the attendees. So if somebody came to me and said, how do I do that? That person can do it in 60 days or 90 days.
Got it. Sunil, let's also just break down this bit over here because a l- I don't think a lot of people think of having a mentor when they're making money, right?
Yes.
They only think of having a mentor when they're broke. It's like having a lawyer. Nobody thinks of having a lawyer till their first business problem. And then they realize, oh, you know what? I should have had a lawyer on retainer. So I think lawyers and mentors have a similar uh, kind of placement in most of the people's life, irrespective of the geographic location. Until unless they're really forward thinking and they're really thinking ahead, and then they're trying to figure out, oh, you know what, I need a mentor for my business, I need a mentor for for my mental health, and I need a mentor for my health, which is a can be a physical trainer, can be somebody who helps you with longevity, which is now the latest trend with peptides and stuff, right? Anybody who is buying peptides randomly from random sellers, please don't do that, right? Please figure out and understand and talk to people who actually know about it, because you're injecting something into your body. And also, uh, you know uh, get mentors who actually have done good work. For example, Sunil, because if you randomly go to a mentor, it is like going to, a friend having a cup of kadak, smoking a cigarette, and trying to figure out $1 million problem. Your friend has no freaking idea about $1 million, right? Because if you both have an idea of $1 million, then why are you drinking kadak on the streets? And
Correct.
we go to a five-star hotel not because the coffee is great or the tea is great, is because of the ambience and the people who you meet over there. Because as a business person, you're always networking, you're always willing to meet a new person. But my question to you here, Sunil, is that what would you tell somebody who's broke right now, right? Somebody who's lost all his money in trading or all her money in trading. Perhaps she borrowed like $5,000 or $1,000, which in the Southeast Asia, or which in the entire Asia is a decent amount of money. And they are, because, and I'll tell you why, where this question is coming from. We see a lot of posts on multiple crypto social media platforms that, hey, I lost X amount of money, I don't know what to do, maybe I will, or please help me, or they start begging. What is, like, how would you bring that person back up on their feet? And if they're willing to go all in, which not a lot of people want to go, right? Don't be in a delusion that, oh yes, I'm going all in. All in means all in. Like
That's right.
every minute you're thinking about it, right? Every minute you're working towards it. You're in the bathroom, you're eating, you whatever you're doing, you are thinking about it and you're working towards it, right? So just in case, the meaning of all in for the audience.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Please tell me, Sunil, how would you save that guy's mindset, life, and turn around his life?
That's very good. Listen, you talk about five or $10,000. I mean, I lost millions, in 2008, which was the biggest melting real estate market in U.S., but then spread all over the world. And at that time, like I said, you feel even worse than not having the money and or losing a little bit of money, because now people say, okay, maybe he just got lucky and something like that. So what did I do? Same thing. I hired a lawyer. I hired a mentor. Then I wrote down, what do I learn from this? The next thing I did was I said, how can I make money back? How do I make the money? Now, did I make money from real estate at that time? Not really, because, like I give you the story about the coaching business that started. Now, maybe my mentoring business would have never started if that hadn't happened to me. Now people all over the world pay me a huge amount of money to consult them, but maybe that wouldn't have started if that bad thing hadn't happened to me. So I would say to these people, go find somebody who's doing really well. Like, find somebody. You can hire them if you have money. Payment plans. If you have no money, go work for them, and while you're working from them, you're learning from them. And if it's an environment where they consistently every week, twice a week or daily. They mentor you on the product. So usually it's a sale of something, or something that you're doing that would help that company. So you don't worry about ABC company. Look for a mentor that you want to work for that owns that company, or the manager or president or whatever, and work for it with them to learn, and at the same time build your mindset of growth. That's number two. Number three is, like, let's say that person says, I don't need you, I don't need an employee. Then this is what I did. I went out and volunteered. So I had a person that I wanted to work with, and he was bringing an event in Toronto, and it was 3-day, 12-hour days, 3-day event. And my mentor told me, go and volunteer for free and don't expect anything. Don't expect them to do anything. Okay. I'm like, initially when you're down, you're like, that sounds crazy. I'm not getting paid yet. But I went. First day, I was an usher. I was basically taking people. They had a certain type of ticket. I just take them down to their seat and make sure they're happy. Come back and the door, blah blah blah. Second day, third day, the main guy, the main speaker, the main person that I would have loved to, wanted to work with, said, who is this guy? I see him all over. He's working really hard, this and that. And then the person told him, the employees told him, yeah, he's been there for 3 days. He goes, he's been here for 3 days? Like, he didn't realize until the third day, right? And this is what happened. For 2 minutes, he said, send him in to my boardroom. I went in. And he said, thank you very much. And he said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a real estate investor. This is what I do. And that's how my relationship started with him, where then he started calling me for every event. And I found my investors, and I found my mentors. I found people who would do it for free, for example. Now, when I say free, really, it's not free. Usually when I found the mentor, I would go, what can I do for you? They go, can you do this, and this, it? I say, yes. And then they would kind of mentor you for that, right? And that's how it came back up, by giving. And it should be taught in school that when you grow up and you finish your college, university degree, first thing to do is find a mentor. Not like, you're done forever, you're amazing, here's your degree, you got it. No, go find a mentor. How? Pay them. That's the fastest, easiest way of getting a mentor, and his attention, his time, his expertise, or her. Number two is to go work for them if you don't have the money, or Number three is to volunteer for them. And so when you volunteer, it could take longer time. When you work for somebody, you may not get the job that you're looking for. You have to sweep the floors maybe. Okay? But you're closer and you're listening. Who are coming in? People are coming in. Maybe you're a receptionist for that person. Maybe you're photocopying for that person. I had a lot of my employees come to me as that, and then eventually they got a full-time job, and and things like that. So when you're down, when you lost your money, say, figure out who can help you, figure out how can you get their attention, and how can you be in their vicinity. Proximities will rub off on you. It will rub off on you. Success will rub off on you.
Power, guys. Proximity is power.
Yeah, and then read the books, listen to the podcasts about how to make money. Maybe temporarily you have to get a part-time or full-time job that you don't care about. Go get a job. Okay, get that job, pay for your bill, and then on the side, do the things that we're saying, which is to become an entrepreneur. Because everything that we're talking about, whether it's investing, basically it's an entrepreneurship spirit. That's what it is. Basically, it's something that's going to grow for you, whether it's cash flow, whether it's appreciation, whether it's both passive income, active income, whatever you want to look at it. But you will get richer by working hard, and you have to work hard. And sometimes you have to do things that you don't like. Yeah, I didn't like what I was going through, but you fight through it. And then so the idea is you get a mentor. The idea is you every day and night, think, dream, write everything that I talked about, the system that I talked about, and then you basically go and figure out how do I turn this into a monetization? How do I make this more money? What mistake did I make? Oh, I should have had a mentor, or I should have had a lawyer, or I should have had an accountant, or I had so and so. And next time you just don't do that. So that's the so let's say you lost 5 grand. Well, 5 grand is nothing in regards to the education that you got from that experience, right? When you go to university and they charge you $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, mostly is theory. And when you learn from theory versus your experiences are more valuable if you know how to convert that into a monetization. So, I know that our title was, Bitcoin versus real estate. I don't think you need to be versus. I don't think it has to be, one way or the other. I have specialized in real estate. You have specialized perhaps in Bitcoin or whatever and digital currency. But whatever you want to do, just remember one thing. I want to be a doctor, go to medical school. I want to be a lawyer, go to a law school. I want to be in real estate investing, go to somebody who's done well in real estate and versus digital currency. So when I say versus, I mean, you may say, okay, I'll start with one and then go with the other one, or start with digital and then go into real estate. So for me, I mean, real estate and coaching and public speaking, and it has been very, very good for sure. And majority of the people, when I was talking to Abhishek Bachchan and having lunch with him, private lunch with him, he told me that Bachchan's family, which including Amitabh Bachchan, entire family's wealth was created, or net worth was created through real estate. Money was made through movies. Money was made through endorsements and all that. But they took that money and then they went and bought like 100 acres over here, another apartment here, condo here, whatever. And today their net worth is, so much because they put it into real estate. So that seems to be the thing, whether you talk to Robert Kiyosaki, whether you talk to majority of the people, at least 80% of the people, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. I'm full-time in real estate for the last 22, 23 years, but you don't have to be full-time. You could be just working and one day say, you know what? I'm just going to buy a property that's going to produce cash flow. That's it. Start with that, right? I'm just going to buy a little, certain square footage of land and just keep it because I know this is the city. I know that city is growing this way. Government is putting money, roads are coming, big, pharma's coming, whatever's coming, jobs are coming. So up here is nothing right now. They're cheap. The lands are cheap. And here's the city. And it's moving slowly. You move forward 50 kilometers or whatever it is, and you buy land over here, for example. You don't have to deal with tenants. You don't have to do anything. You just leave the land. And one day, 10 years later, people are going to say, hey, you must be genius. How'd you know? Because you just saw the movement. Which way is moving? Growth is moving. That's it.
That is exactly what majority of the people have even done it with Bitcoin. I know a lot of people who we bring on, and that is exactly what we said. I know we are past the 1 hour mark, but I would be really ashamed if I didn't ask you two more questions.
Okay.
The first thing that I want to ask you is that a lot of people repeat their own patterns in life. Now I'm talking on behalf of the traders and perhaps even for me, that you start off well, and then maybe 3-4 years, 5 years, you realize you have ended that same pattern and then gone broke, and then now you figure out, oh shit, like what happened to me? Why do you think people are repeating the same old patterns, and why they haven't learned from it, or they claim that they have learned from it, but
yeah. Well, see, the thing is, money is a very interesting thing for everyone in the world, because on one hand, we're taught that it's not good. On the other hand, it's absolutely necessary, absolutely needed. Money represents, the ability to eat, ability to live, ability to have a shelter, and ability to, where my kid's going to go to school, which educational university I'm going to go. Am I going to hire a mentor? It just represents so many things that money there's a fear of losing money for a lot of people. So what happens is if they're doing it again and again and again, it just means that their conscious mind has been trained to make money and say that, oh, I've learned my lesson. But the truth is, the subconscious mind wasn't changed. And if the subconscious mind wasn't changed, subconscious mind 100% of the time wins. And so if your subconscious, so how do you know what is your subconscious mind? Just look at your results. What does your subconscious mind think about money? Well, just open your bank account. You know exactly what your conscious mind might say, I'm rich, I'm going to be rich, I want to do this and that. But subconscious mind is what you look at. That's how you know your results. So what you do is exactly what we talked about in many, many books, like Think and Grow Rich book, Science of Getting Rich book, Law of Success and all that. And the course that I have is basically move your subconscious mind to a point where your money catches up to your subconscious mind, your mindset. And then if mindset one day goes down, money will you lose. So that's why somebody who wins a lottery one day, his now he has so much money. He was here, he has so much money, but his mind didn't change. Eventually it catches up to your subconscious mind. Then you look at somebody successful. They're amazing, they're making money, and they lose all the money. And one day they bring it back again. No problem. And then, you'll see most of the successful people, when they lose it, they know they're going to get it back and maybe more. In fact, majority of them, after falling, end up doing much better because their mindset was the biggest point. Proximity, the right people, the right connections, and the right environment, the right family members, right spouse, right mentors. They are the one who will bring you back up to that.
Very well said. And my last question is that what would you say to a kid who is now passing out from his college in India, in the Middle East somewhere or in Egypt? He has no idea what's going to hit him. There is something that we cannot deny, that agentic era of AI has taken over all the menial jobs, like being a virtual assistant or being, like any repetitive task is now done and dusted.
I
The
would
world is
say, go
looking
ahead,
at
sorry.
us that I'm sorry, yeah.
AI, right?
I'm
You're talking about AI and the I would say not only Asia or India or Middle East, I would say anywhere in the world. I'm talking about US, I'm talking about I'm in Canada, or it doesn't matter if you're in Europe, UK, what it doesn't matter, Australia, whatever. I would say this AI is going to impact everybody. Just like many years ago, internet was coming, and then people worried about the internet, and then some other things were coming up brand new, and people worry about it. AI is probably very it's going to have a big impact on the way things are. So this question came to me from one of my family member. He is only 18 or something like that. He's like, uncle, what should I do? What should I do? I said, go learn AI. Like, what the hell? I said, go learn AI. He goes, what do I learn AI in? So I said, what are you going to want to do? So for our purposes, I want to be in real estate. I want to be a publisher. I want to be, let's say, an accountant. I want to attach AI to that profession that you already have, because you're going to fall behind if you don't do it. Now, either one, this is for young kids. Now, let's say if you're in 40s or 50s or even late 30s and you already have your business, hire somebody who knows how to do AI better than you, and then just pay them just like you would do to an accountant. It's now like a profession that you pay for, like an accountant and a lawyer, things like that. So AI is here, and a lot of people, it's going to replace their jobs, but it's also going to bring a lot of good things and different opportunities. So if I want to learn which digital currency, AI is going to be able to do that for me a lot better. And some of them are paid, some of them are not. If I want to teach people how to write a book, I can use AI and say, hey, AI, can you write a book in Sunil's voice? And go out and look at all his work on YouTube and all the lessons that he has taught. Can you extract that and teach me 7 ways of investing in real estate if I have no money? AI is going to be able to do that for you. And then, of course, there's some
right now
tweaking
that AI can do it right now.
right now.
What you
So
yeah.
people, somebody just recently asked me, another student of mine, she is 22 years old, And she's like, "What do I do to make money right now? Like, what do I do right now?" I said, "Get it, learn how to sell, become a closer online. You can do that from anywhere." Okay, so now you don't need a website, you don't need a product, you don't need a service, you don't need a brand, you don't need anything. Okay, all you need is a skill to close. So she went, learned how to, she took a course on closing. She's now making money closing for people from wherever she wants to be, right? So the point here is she asked me an interesting question a few days ago. She said, "Is it possible that AI is going to take over my job in the future?" She said, "I don't think so. It'll never happen." And I said, "You never know, because AI can actually in the future you might be normal. It's normal for me to say to knowing that's an AI and talking to an AI like a robot, and it might be normal for me to just converse and talk to that AI who would close me online. Okay,
You
so
know,
we don't know
absolutely.
where this is going to go, but one thing is for sure, we cannot imagine what's going to happen in 5 years.
100%, 100%. The last 9 months has been, I think, I think humanity has seen more changes than ever again. When I was saying right now, I meant that right now AI can actually go through your YouTube videos and perhaps tell me, everything that you have done, and
Yeah,
could just or like there are plugins that I would say that, hey, I'm going live with Sunil, give me a bunch of questions that Sunil has never
yeah,
answered,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it will take maybe 5 minutes, where I would take days and days and days to research. 5 minutes, and it would give me all the questions. And another point that you mentioned, that which is very true, that you would be talking to an agent or you would be talking to a robot. Uh, the catch here is that actually you will not be talking any longer. It is your agent or your robot will be talking.
your AI agent.
Yes. So these two AI agents will actually have the conversation. We'll try and figure out the deal. And then for the final payments settlement, now even Visa has actually struck a deal with OpenAI for their agents, where you can actually pay fiat, which everybody in crypto was very excited that, you know what, agents can't use fiat currency, but that is changing, where uh, they both have a conversation, and then you get a ping saying that, hey, you know what, this is the deal, these are the points, what's your take? And then if you say yes or no, accordingly the deal is going to be closed. But Sunil, thank you so much for your time. This conversation has been interesting. There are times that I feel um, perhaps embarrassed for not having a flow to the live stream, but there are times I feel so happy for not having a flow to the live stream. And I think this is one of those days, because the idea is to have a free flow conversation. The idea is to build on every question, and the idea is every day to talk about the future of money. And that is exactly what we are doing here today. We're talking about the future of money. We are getting the best people in the world. Thank you, Sunil, for accepting this. I'm sure we would love to have you back. There are a bunch of questions, but I'm not going to take too much of your time. Next time when you're back, would love to have more questions for you. And yes, please tell us which book to buy. No, yeah, go ahead.
Actually, what I'll do is there's a book called Secret to Wealth with my friend Brian Tracy.
Oh,
And
nice.
in the first chapter alone, there's a system, 7 steps of becoming wealthy. 7 step of becoming wealthy. So what I'll do for you and for your audience and everybody's listening is that I'll gift a free digital version of this book to anyone, and we can just put a link, or my team can give this to you, and then you can go from there. Okay.
Absolutely. So anybody who comments down, no, not comment, uh, DM me. DM
Yes.
me, and I will send you a link. Thank you, Sunil, for being the Santa Claus in this heat. We are going to pay attention to this, and make sure everybody's life become better. And thank you so much once again, and everybody listening to us. Remember, we go live every day, and we talk about future of money. And today we had Sunil, the seven-time New York, the seven times New York
Seven times
Times.
best-selling author. 7 times. So the thing is, I've written about 9 books, and 7 of those have become bestsellers. And but that's not because I want to, nothing to do with that. It's just that number of people that have transformed their lives just by reading the books. It's impressive for me, and I'm blessed, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm also thankful for meeting you. I think we met in Singapore.
Yeah,
Where did we
Singapore.
meet?
Yeah.
We
We
met in
met in
Singapore,
Singapore
and
at
then
Robert's
finally,
University.
when you asked me to come along, I'm very happy to do that, and hopefully we'll get to do something in the future as well when I come back from my speaking tour in Asia.
Absolutely, and would love to have you back and ask more questions, because most of us have this biggest problem is our mindset, and which you have the solution for. Thank you so much once again uh, for your
You're
time.
welcome.
I want to continue the conversation, but I'm going to end it because I've
We have to
already taken
go.
more
Yes,
time of
yes, yes,
yours.
yes, yes.
We'll meet again. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
God bless you. Take care. Bye.